So, why am I using multiple journals, you might ask? Well, there's a reason for each of them, and I'm sure a lot of you do exactly the same thing, but I just thought I'd explain what all of mine do. So, let's get started, and I'll walk you through each one, and you might even get a sneak peek into what I've been writing. Okay? See you in the video. You remember in the good old days, you just only ever had like one diary that you wrote, like Dear Diary, when you were 14, and that was all that was there, just one little diary book that had to hold everything. But what about if you had like multiple things that you needed to get out of your brain because, well, it's just driving you nuts? Multiple journals can actually be like a brain dump. You can dump different things into different journals. So grab yourself a coffee. Let's discuss how I use my different journals and what I write in them. So my first port of call is always my Morning Pages by Julia Cameron. She talks in there about recovering a sense of safety, of identity, of power, integrity, possibility, abundance, connection, strength, compassion, self-protection, autonomy, and faith. And of course, you get to break your mindset here. Write whatever you want. It's your private one-on-one. You can journal here for clarity. You just dump it all on the page, and you face your demons. That's exactly what you do in these pages. Each week has different exercises. You work through it. For example, on page 6 of The Artist's Way, she talks about many of us finding that we have squandered our own creative energies by investing disproportionately in the lives, hopes, dreams, and plans of others. And what she does is then helps you to work through what you're going to do next. She gives you little projects to do each week. She sends you on little artist dates, all things that you have stopped doing for yourself, but you'd take the time to do for others. And so journaling about that is what really helps to bring it all into focus. So anxiety is a constant, I'm not sure about you, but in my head, a bully lives in my head. This was one of the projects we had to do. We had to make a little set of cards, like affirmations, and that we go through them every single morning, and you look at them and you had to make the little cards, and each one was something that you felt personally, and then you had to say about why you felt like it, and we're just far too hard on ourselves. But journaling, that will help to get all of these thoughts out of your head, dump it on a page, and then you can start your day. So it's nothing bad to write a love letter to yourself. Try and think of yourself as like you would write something nice to somebody else. All right, my second journal is this very humble little monthly planner. I think I've shown you before, but it's just a little art doodling little journal, and it's very simple. It was an old planner. I just get into it and I don't know, ink it, paint it, add things to it, add photos to it, and just scratch around like I've done here. I sometimes just make comments like this and maybe go back to the page later on. There's a little bit of tea bag art there and a little bit of other stuff on the left. I don't think too much when I'm in here. It's just a really humble little journal. And I've actually taken stuff out and added it to other journals, so there's not a lot in it at the moment. But yeah, this is another way to get things out of your mind and onto the page. Use something really simple, doesn't have to be expensive. Sometimes I can get a bit overwhelmed, with all the Insta-perfect photos. But art is so individual. Every single person can make art. There's no body that should be saying that's not art or this is not art. So just grab yourself a cheap little book from somewhere and just start doodling and get your paints out. And who cares if they're not, $100 paints? Just have a go. The next one is this humble little guy. just a really small notebook, quite sturdy. I take it with me when I leave the house. I made a little pocket on the back there, as you can see, but I just put it in my bag, and then I can take it with me and I can write my lists on the go if I'm in a coffee shop or wherever I am. So yeah, I just put something on the front, and then I added my own business cards onto the back, which I just had done before I went to Bali. They're new ones, which I'm quite happy with. It's got all my social media on the front, and then just a little advertisement of what I actually make on the back. So I take them with me, and then if I'm out and about and somebody asks me, oh, so what are you doing, or what do you do in your spare time or whatever, then I've got that there. And I keep a little lackey band around it just so that when I put things in there, they don't get lost, because you know how things wander about. But it's just a simple little book, and I just add to it as and when I can, and I just write lists, and I have ideas for different things for the channel, and I add them to it, and then I can remember them. Otherwise I forget if I just try and put it somewhere else. If I don't write it down and keep adding to it and ticking it off as I do it, I find that really helps as well. And lastly on my list is my current favourite journal, my personal journal with my talisman journal tie. And I just love undoing this every day. It's my current journal that I'm working on for 2024. Now, some of these pages you will have seen that I've used in other projects, and then I took them out of those projects and added them to my personal journal. So yeah, I think that we should do that. We should move things where we want it to be, where it feels right. And then I journal other things that I might be thinking about, things that might be worrying me. But it is my personal space, so I kind of write what I want there. I don't have to answer to anybody. I add what I want when I want. If I want to make up some stamps with fairies on them and add them, I do. And I also, journal my own thoughts about my kids or my grandkids. I add, flowers that I might have pressed. This was another piece of art that you would have seen from another project. I think it might have been Junk Journal January. I can't really remember, but yeah, if I particularly like a piece of art and it resonates with me, like this one did about my firstborn, and then I wrote something else on the page as well. So yeah, I find that having this personal journal really does help me. It helps me to put my thoughts down on a page, the stuff that is really important to me, because in years to come, when I'm not here anymore, maybe somebody will read that journal and know how special they were to me, So I have other things, I use bits of fabric, and I might stencil it, that there's a piece of kitchen roll that I did some painting on. I just add bits and pieces as I think fit. I'm liking yellow at the moment. I just love daffodils, so they're kind of featuring, and little notes that I write to myself, and bits out of patterns. There's all sorts of things in here that are just personal to me. This is my personal journal, so you're really getting a glimpse into that. But I think it helps to think of the mindset, like where I'm at and why I use different journals for different things, really. That's a little love note that I wrote myself. Julia actually encourages us to write ourselves a letter from when we're 80 years old, and what would we say to ourselves today? It's quite an interesting little thing to do. So yeah, I do encourage you to go and get her book. Fabulous. So yeah, a lot of this is yellow, shades of yellow that I've grunged up or whatever, and I'm really loving using that at the moment. So yeah, if you've got a favourite colour, that helps too when you got your personal journal, for sure. So there's my top 4. They're the ones that I'm using at the moment. Let me know in the comments what you're using, because I'm really interested to know how you use them, and do you use them on a daily basis. So thanks for dropping in. As usual, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye for now.